I actually think Casca is going to get a lot of agency in this final arc, which be so fire. But I just think that the reason why I'm so excited for this final war arc is because we're going to see like two. It's kind of even hard to call them rivals at this point because they're not even competing for the same thing. But Guts and Griffith, two arguably the best written MC versus the best written antagonist, arguably, right? About to meet in the middle for like a final climax. Like that to me is just gonna be legendary. Like I don't see how.
Not like us, got everybody crip walking in LA for real.
Oh yeah, I got a agenda too.
Go for it.
Random will appreciate this one.
Oh god.
So the new chapter Berserk came out, and I think the greatest war arc of all time is about to drop. I think the greatest war arc, Falconia, is locking in Griffith's side versus the heroes for a war. I think we're about to get the greatest war arc in manga history. That's how I feel. It's a shame. It's a shame that we won't exactly see the way that Muir would panel the action and panel things, but it's still his idea is going to be on the page, and they doing a good job. We have to see the greatest war arc of all time, bro.
I think.
Can you break down what's gonna happen?
So at the end of Mira's last chapter was when we found out officially that Griffith was a Moonlight Boy. What happened after that is that he took Casca away from Guts, and Guts tried to fight him, but he just basically moonwalked his freaking he just moonwalked the Dragon Slayer, and Guts fully like crumbled because throughout everything in Berserk, and Ty can tell you, his sword was what got him through a lot. And for the first time in the story, his sword failed him, and he basically he had a mental breakdown about it. And then as they're leaving the Elf Island, because it's crumbling, because Falconia has basically the astral world and the physical world are merging in the Elf Island, and a lot of these fantastical creatures are starting to appear, and the Elf Island basically disintegrates. And then while they're on the ship, they get captured by Salat and the members of the Kushian Empire. And where they're at now is that Guts is in prison. He doesn't have. I think it's really Ty. I want to ask you this too. I was going to actually talk about this. The fact that they took the Berserker armor from him, I think, is very crucial because the Beast of Darkness was about to like go for the throat.
Yeah.
No Diddy to take over Guts, and they took that away from him. The group themselves are being conscripted into the Kushian Empire because the Kushian Empire understands, like, look, Falconia is coming, and we're about to fight for real. So also Casca's reliving.
Alani's struggling.
Yeah. Casca's reliving Groundhog Day right now. For anybody who's watched the movie, she's like stuck in this repeating day over and over again. And I'm like, I get it, but I wish they had more time together, Ty, before she was taken away. Because now you put her in that damsel in distress position, and she was that for half the goddamn story. And she's one of the more, I guess, more inspirational women in anime and manga. And I'm sad that she's back in that position. So hopefully she breaks out. But Ty, the people of Foreman, the lines of Foreman, and the Kushian Empire, I don't know how they're going to even the odds, especially with Ganishka dead. And he was their one ace in the hole because he was an apostle himself. So I don't know what they're going to do to fight Falconia off. They got to get Guts back to being Guts again. I don't know how they're going to do that.
I actually think Casca is going to get a lot of agency in this final arc, which be so fire. But I just think that the reason why I'm so excited for this final war arc is because we're going to see like two. It's kind of even hard to call them rivals at this point because they're not even competing for the same thing. But Guts and Griffith, two arguably the best written MC versus the best written antagonist, arguably, right? About to meet in the middle for like a final climax. Like that to me is just going to be legendary. Like I don't see how that doesn't move mountains. I'm so excited for that.
Do you think they bring Guts up?
The story of Berserk, I can't wait to see that.
Do you think they bring Guts up or they bring Griffith down? They're still the Baylet. They're still the Baylet that Guts has, but he's not going to use it. So
yeah, I think they're going to. I think Griffith will come down because we've seen his weakness with with the Moonlight Child. I don't think that Guts will elevate, especially with his body breaking down, all this stuff. I think that Griffith weaknesses will be exposed because typically throughout the story, he's always done something to hurt himself, whether it be he was in position of power, then he sleeps with Charlotte, like things like that. He's always he's been the cause of his own downfall. So I think it'd be a similar situation.
How do you feel about Guts?
I feel like it's both though. No, go ahead. I'm looking up something.
I was gonna say, how do you feel about Guts being jailed for his own protection? Obviously, he's at his weakest that we've ever seen him, short of him being a boy, mentally especially. But the fact that they were like, there are some people in the Kushan Empire who want to kill him, which to me, I'm like, besides Salat, who else? And I guess I always forget his strategist name, the magic guy. What's that guy's name? Daiba. Besides them, who's trying to kill Guts like that in the Kushan Empire? When he's could be somebody should notice that he should be a complete asset for them. Going into the war.
I think that it's one of those things where I feel like Guts is eventually going to come to the fore. I think that's Miura kind of saving Guts for the end. That's what I think. He's gonna come in as the hero, kind of like with the Battle of the Hawk were failing previously, and then Guts comes back from his like journey of traveling and being and practicing swordsmanship to come back and save the day. I think that's be a similar situation, except this time he's gonna be able to stop Griffith this time.
He got to. We've only seen him fail every other time except for once. So, like, thank God you said it, because Ty, I was gonna like legitimately call you and be like, bro, we need to have a conversation about that last chapter. The implications are amazing. Like, thank God that I was so worried after Miura died, but his assistants, even though they weren't there long enough to really grasp a hold of the story the way you think they would, they clearly understand the vision and they're taking their time with it. And I like that. Don't force chapters just to get the chapters out. People will wait. They were waiting years between chapters for Berserk. They can wait a little longer, a few more.
I was just say, if Berserk stick this land, it's gonna be a lot of uncomfortable conversations.
A lot of uncomfortable. I don't think it's gonna be that uncomfortable. Berserk is like that. Berserk is like that. I'll say this. Well, we might put a YouTube poll up. Maybe moving forward, we might start reacting to the Berserk chapters that come out, because they come out every like once in a while, so it's not too common. So that's potential something we'll do later on. But I think for me personally, referring to your earlier question, I think it's a mixture of Guts moving up and Griffith moving down. Because I agree with what you're saying in terms of the Moonlight Child stuff. Of course, some of that being a limitation. But I do think Skull Knight got something for Guts. I think he got something for Guts that will rise him to another level. I'm still iffy about the happy ending, though. You know, with Guts
we need that.
If there's one story that deserves it,
we need a happy ending, bro.
I hear you, but it could be like they win, but it's not happily ever after. It's
why? Why not? Why can't you?
I just see it because Guts has gone through a lot, bro. I'm not gonna lie. It might take his life to end this. I'm just saying.
If he dies, I'm gonna be disappointed.
If he gets weaker and Gus gets stronger, like you said, why can't you just be Griffith and live happy ever after? I'm so like, why is that not an option?
Because at the same time, if he gets stronger and Griffith gets weaker, the gap is so large that it still might not be enough. It might take.
He's not gonna fight Griffith in a straight off one-on-one fight.
Miura in the interview literally said he'd be a disservice to not give his fans a happy ending, which I 100% agree with.
So what is this a happy ending? Let's say Guts does everything he has. He frees Casca. Casca and him obviously live together, but they only live together for a little bit because Guts' lifespan is completely shot.
So
is that so? And then he ends up dying.
How is his lifespan shot? We've seen the man. How is his life so straight? You want Attack on Titan? You want Attack on Titan?
Like it's a possibility. It's okay. Very similar. You know what's a perfect example? Eren and Mikasa. Eren's lifespan was shot. He couldn't live out a full life.
Okay,
that's because of the Titan. If Eren never eats his dad, he lives a long time.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear that whole like
what
that
doesn't have anything to do with what I said.
But
that's
like
what you
but
want. You're asking for that.
I'm not asking for nothing. Oh, y'all are
you're legitimately trying to prove one of Attack on Titan endings on Berserk.
That's not. I don't want that. If you want to know, I don't want it. No,
I don't want that.
But is it
either,
a happy
bro.
ending? Is it a happy ending?
Yes.
Is it a happy?
No.
Like,
it's not. My scenario is it a happy?
It depends how it's presented. If it's presented like, oh my god, if they present it like, I only got 5 years left, but these are gonna be the best 5 years of our time together, and it depends how it's presented. If it's like, dang, like we only got 5 years left, we might as well. That's crazy. It depends how it's presented, but I don't want it. He needs to live. Like what the? Like,
I want him to be like an old ass man,
right? I want
like
him to. I want him to put. I think you know. I think is gonna happen. They're gonna be getting married. They're gonna have like the whole band out there. His sword will be retired on the Hill of Swords, and I want to be a farmer or something. Like
that's gonna be like the last panel. It's like
exactly
his kids are running toward him. The sword
like
is in the background, and that's it.
You have Casca's sword and Gus' sword crossed like this on the Hill of Swords together at the retired, living happily ever out on their farm with maybe 3 kids and playing out on the fields.
Maybe Ricker's coming to visit.
Right,
Ricker's coming to visit with like the rest of the crew. Like that's it. That's
I respect it. I respect it.
Okay, everything Guts goes through, bro. Just let him have it. Let him have it.
Random and tie, because I want to. This might make Riddell crash out. So if Berserk finishes and it finally gets like animated by like Mappa or with studios or something, do you think it passes AOT?
Yes.
To being number 1 all time?
Yes.
Yeah. I will say this. I think that they would have
Berserk
to,
is really good.
They would have to animate in a way that is not as like gruesome, unless they say, hey, this is an adult cartoon. Like kind of like because Invincible is very gore, but I'm talking more like the sexual stuff. I would think they need to censor some of that.
You don't need
and they have done it in all the adaptations. They have censored it that it's still fine. So
you kind of get what they're doing without showing.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like if they do it like that, and it has you tell me I get a great Berserk adaptation, that's the greatest piece of fiction I've ever seen. To me.
No, I said it. If they do it right, it's going to be the greatest anime of all time.
So what?
I agree.
In terms of stories, what do you think will be better when it's finished, Berserk or One Piece?
I enjoyed One Piece more personally.
Berserk is such a niche, man. It's really not for everybody. That's where I'm
not talking about what it's forever. I say what will be the better story, One Piece or Berserk.
I think Berserk, but if someone said One Piece, I'm not mad at them. I see why someone can say they think One Piece. I can see it, but I would say Berserk.
Yeah,